All right, today we're going to Nepal. And I know, you probably have one very specific, very tall image in your head. But what we're about to find out is that the real story of Nepal is so much more interesting than just its highest peaks.
So, let me just ask you straight up, what's the very first thing that pops into your mind when I say Nepal?
Yeah, I'm gonna guess it's this Mount Everest, the top of the world. And look, you're not wrong, but that's really just scratching the surface.
Because what if the most incredible, the most surprising things about this country are the ones hiding in plain sight, far away from all those famous mountain trails? Let's start right there. Even the whole Everest thing isn't as simple as it sounds. See, Everest is the highest mountain, sure, because we measure from sea level, but it's not actually the tallest. That prize goes to Mauna Kea in Hawaii. If you measure it from its real base, way down on the ocean floor, it's way taller. It's the perfect example of how the most famous fact isn't always the full story.
And speaking of things that aren't what you'd expect, let's talk about one of Nepal's most unique features, its national flag.
That's right. Every other country on the planet, every single one, has a flag that's a rectangle or a square. And then there's Nepal, standing completely on its own with this incredible shape.
And every single part of this design is just packed with meaning. The shape itself is called a double pennon. The crimson red, that's for the bravery of the Nepali people. The blue border you see all around it stands for peace. And the sun and the moon, well, they symbolize the hope that Nepal will last just as long as they do.
And get this, the detail here is just mind-blowing. This isn't just some drawing. The exact way to construct the flag is laid out in a super precise 24-step geometric formula right there in the nation's constitution. You literally need a compass and a ruler to draw it the right way. So we've gone from a unique symbol to a truly unique political journey. I mean, Nepal's path from being one of the oldest monarchies in the world to one of the newest republics, well, it has been a wild ride. Just look at this timeline for a second. For centuries, you had the Shah dynasty with absolute power. Then, for 100 years, another clan basically took over, and the king became just a figurehead. Then there were these other systems, but the people kept pushing for more democracy, until finally, in 2008, the whole 240-year-old monarchy was just gone. It's a massive, massive change in a pretty short amount of time. Now, all this political change was happening at the same time as this huge economic story was unfolding. And it's a story that looks like a simple success, but when you dig in, it's a total paradox. To get what I mean, let's rewind to 1996. Back then, a staggering 42% of everyone in Nepal was living below the poverty line. That's almost half the country. Okay, now fast forward to today. That number, it's been chopped in half, down to about 20%. And on paper, that is an absolutely incredible victory in the fight against poverty. So you have to ask, right? What's really driving this change? Was it a huge boom in local jobs? A revolution in farming? The answer is probably not what you're thinking. The single biggest thing that's been pulling people out of poverty in Nepal isn't something happening inside Nepal. It's remittances. It's money being sent home by Nepalis who are working abroad. An amazing 58%, more than half, of all households in Nepal get this money from family members. It has been the main thing lifting millions of people up. But as one analysis puts it, this whole situation is a double-edged sword. On the one hand, it's a vital lifeline, but on the other, it shows a weakness in the local economy and makes the entire country really vulnerable to what happens in job markets thousands of miles away. Okay, so if the present is built on something so fragile, what about the future? Well, this is where it gets really exciting. It turns out Nepal is sitting on a potential powerhouse. This one chart tells you everything you need to know. Thanks to its rivers, Nepal could realistically generate over 40,000 megawatts of clean hydropower. But look how much they're actually using right now. It's a tiny fraction. That massive gap you see, that's not a problem. That's a gigantic opportunity. And there is a plan to grab that opportunity. The roadmap is really ambitious. They want to massively increase their capacity by 2035, start selling all that extra power to their neighbors like India and Bangladesh, and pull in almost $50 billion in investment to make it all happen. If they can do this, it could totally change their entire economy. So when you put all these different pieces together, you've got the unique culture, the turbulent politics, that paradoxical economy,
and this incredible untapped potential. What you see is a nation that is truly at a crossroads. Which really just leaves us with this final thought. How does a nation of such surprising extremes, a country with an ancient, mathematically perfect flag, a brand new democracy, and all this immense, untapped power flowing through its rivers, how does it build a truly sustainable future for itself? That is the great challenge and the great opportunity for Nepal today.